Your mindset is the root of your reality. If you can change your mindset, then you can change your life. Welcome, Master Your Vibe. Mind bright, vibe right. The mindset reboot for those ready for some calibration to their vibration. I'm your host, King Yes Indeed, your guide for this vibrational journey, here to help you conquer any mental blocks, fine-tune your inner frequency, and navigate to your highest self. If you're ready to make your mind bright so you can vibe right, then you're in the right place. Let the journey begin. Yes, indeed. Welcome, welcome, welcome back to another episode of Master Your Mindset, the 7 dimensions of mindset. Kings, and today, our show topic, I think it's going to be a good one. I'm excited to talk about it, and what we're going to be talking about is the fact that you are right on time. You are not late. You are right on time for your journey. All right, one of the quietest forms of pressure we carry in life is the pressure of timing for things, right? By a certain age, society says by a certain age you should have accomplished this or that. By a certain stage you should have reached a certain stage. By now you should already be further ahead. We compare timelines constantly. We compare careers, we compare relationships, we compare achievements, we compare all sorts of different progress. We compare it to each other, we compare it to time, we compare it to money, we compare it to what it looks like. And so what we're doing is we start thinking that something's wrong with us, right? We start thinking that we're lagging behind, or we're not doing something right. We start thinking, maybe I started too late. We start thinking, I should have had this figured out already. We start thinking, I should have these things already. I should have this title or this label by now. But here's the reality of things that doesn't get talked about enough. You're not late. You are in perfect timing for what your journey is. Your life is not meant to unfold according to someone else's schedule. Your growth has its own pace. Nothing, in fact, grows at the same rate, and growth rate doesn't determine the importance of your journey. Right? Your lessons have their own timing. Your path has its own direction. And so today we are going to talk about why feeling like you're behind, why feeling like your timing is off, why feeling like you are late is often just created by unnecessary comparisons to someone else's timing. First thing we're going to talk about is the illusion of the universal timeline. Much of our everyday life is built around timelines, right? You have graduation by a certain age. You want to have started your career by a certain age. Sometimes we want to be married by a certain age. Society says that in most cases it's best to buy a house, at this certain time or at this stage in your life. But I'm here to tell you that your life should not be a long list of check boxes that have a clock ticking next to it. It shouldn't be that. All right? This is not a race where the faster you finish, the better off you are. No, it's not that. And journeys rarely follow straight lines. Some people start early and discover themselves later. Some people struggle early and succeed later. Some people build quickly and lose everything before rebuilding again. Every path has a different sequence. The problem begins when we assume someone else's goal or someone else's destination should also be our own. All right, comparisons make us feel late in a race that you were never meant to be in the first place. All right, so that's what happens when we begin to compare ourselves to someone else who is on a whole different type of journey. Now let's talk about the hidden work of being behind, right? Sometimes being behind is about perspective. Like what people call being behind is often the period where the most important growth is happening. I want to call those quiet years, right? Like when you are out of the limelight, when you are in the lab grinding, you're in the gym working out, you're doing all the boring foundational work that is necessary for your vision to stand on, for your success to thrive on, for your structure to sit on, right? Those are the quiet years. They could also be considered confusing. This is the time where you are learning. You are wondering why things are not progressing like you thought, right? The time spent wondering where your support is. The time spent second guessing yourself because you can't see the results you wanted. And then there's the rebuilding years. The time spent where you had to break it down, tear it down, and start all over. Right? How many of us have been through that? Where you had to go back to the drawing board and re-examine all of your goals. You had to re-examine all of your intent. You had to re-examine how you were approaching it, your execution. You had to re-examine your motivation towards this whole thing. And maybe you don't even want to do it anymore. You had to re-examine everything about the place where you thought you wanted to go. These are the years where resilience is developed. These are the years where perspective is gained or where it is changed. These are the years where discipline is formed or where it is enhanced. These are the years where your character is built or reinforced. These are the years, this is the place where the greatest lessons to move on to the next step were delivered to you, is in that place, in those rebuilding years, in those quiet years, in those confusing years of you just constantly working on and just traveling the journey of your designed path. This is your season of preparation, and most likely your season of the most sacrifice in these years. You are preparing and sacrificing the most. And this is why it really hurts, is because it feels like you are constantly working, you are constantly giving something up, and you don't see any fruit, you don't see any progress, or it doesn't feel that way. But let me explain something about preparation and sacrifice. Those things don't look glamorous, right? These things don't look fun. They don't look enjoyable. For those who are on the outside looking in, if they are looking at you, you look like you failed. You look like you didn't succeed. You look like you are in the same place you were 5 or 10 years ago. That's what you look like. But what you see is slowly forming into shape and something to behold. Now, I don't know if you all are familiar with a show I used to watch back in the day. It's called Voltron. Right, in Voltron, they were these 5 pilots, and they controlled 5 robotic lions. The idea is that at the height of an enemy attack, at the height of when something needed to be done, in order to win or in order to be successful, they had to form one huge giant robot, and the robot was called Voltron. That was the robot's name. And when you watched it, they formed the feet and legs first, and then they formed the arms and the body. And the climax was when they formed, was when the head was formed, and the music would get louder and it would more intense, and then Voltron would fly into the danger and he'd take care of it, and that was it, and it was this big huge thing. And so that's how this process may look. Voltron can't do what he needs to do with just the feet and legs. Voltron can't do what he needs to do with just the arms and the body. Voltron can't do what he needs to do with just the head. And so watching that transformation can be an example of what you are going through, right? As we build, or as you build, and as you prepare and understand, what you are dealing with, and what you are forming, or rather what you are transforming into, it's something greater, because it is time for this whole thing to finally come together. And so what may feel like a delay actually is development, right? And so in your time where you are confused, in your time where you are sacrificing, in your time where you are quiet and rebuilding, that is the time where when you finally come out and when it's finally all ready, you form the feet and legs, you form the arms and body, you form the head, and then Voltron is ready to appear. That's what your development is leading to. All right. Let me remind you that life is not linear. You may assume life is supposed to move in one direction. Some may think that it should be going upward. Some may think it should be going forward. But truthfully, growth can be, and typically is, in any direction, or more specifically, the direction that is necessary. Think about plants. Plants don't necessarily grow up or out. What they do is they simply grow towards their light source or towards the sunlight. Plants also continuously grow downward to further strengthen their root system. And while you may say that this is towards their darkness, what I would tell you is think about this. The growth when they're growing down is towards their support system, it's towards their nutrients, it's towards water, and it is also towards a source of protection, right? So far down, when it freezes, they're protected from the frost. If it's too hot, they're protected from drought or drying out. So growing down can also be a benefit. Now, with the wrong perspective, you might look at these things as setbacks. You might look at them as roadblocks. You might look at them as signs of failure, but be mindful that even some of the largest and most beautiful trees may lose their leaves in certain seasons, right? And the reason why these trees may lose their leaves is to preserve their resources. It's for protection. It's for energy conservation, right? Trees losing their leaves is a regulated process that some trees must undergo. And notice I said that they must undergo to ensure that they survive in order to, in their next due season, grow properly and grow healthy. All right, so some growth is about preparing, it's about sustaining, it's about learning, it's about pausing and being still, it's about slowing down. Sometimes it's about getting rid of something that isn't going to serve you when times are lean, when times get hard, when times get rough and cold, right? No one dismisses a tree for shedding its leaves, nor do they rush the tree to grow its leaves back. What they do is they look forward to a time when the new growth will happen, right? They're looking forward to those leaves coming back to provide shade, to provide beauty, but they only look forward to it when the climate dictates it is time. Remember, just because people think it's time for the leaves to come back doesn't mean that the tree has shown up late. It doesn't mean that the tree has grown its leaves late. What it means is that the time has not yet arrived. And despite what others' perceptions is of that specific season, it is just not time yet. And so if we look at our lives, depending on where we are, depending on what we haven't achieved or what we have succeeded, depending on some of the things that we're going through, it just might not be your time yet. Now, let's talk about the power of accepting our timing and where we are. All right, one of the best things that we can do for ourselves is to stop comparing ourselves to anything or anyone else. We must recognize that nothing grows or develops at exactly the same rate. Nothing grows in exactly the same direction. Nothing grows over the exact same amount or at the exact same time. Nothing grows in the exact same place. It just doesn't happen. It can look similar. It can appear to be the same. But when we look at all the nuance of circumstances, of situations, of environments, of resources, and many other variables, you will begin to see and understand that nothing is the same. When you understand that you need to make decisions for you, then you will take the time to make wise decisions, well thought out decisions, right? When you understand your outcomes are going to rely on those decisions, then you will be likely to make more mature decisions. All right, when you understand that your process is going to rely on the outcomes of those mature decisions, then you will begin to understand why you need to be patient with yourself and why you need to be patient when making those decisions. Your process should move at your pace, not anyone else's. All right, your time is not wrong for you. Your time is simply meant for you. All right, your time is not wrong for you. Your time is just simply meant for you. All right. Now, I'm going to give you just some very quick practical ways of ways that you can stop maybe feeling so behind, or maybe you're feeling so late, because it's a lot easier said than done. So one of the things that I want us to do is don't focus on your age. All right, don't focus at your age. I could run down a list of things where I accomplished late. I got a degree late in life. I graduated college late in life. I got married late in life. I bought a house late in life. All right, yes, you can be mindful, as age can be a determination for some things that you may qualify for, some things that you don't qualify for. But don't let your age stop you from chasing your goals and your dreams. Let's not do that. All right, next we got to recognize that everyone starts somewhere, and that somewhere is not the same place. So I want you to look at where you start, and from there you can plan to write your own success story. Understand this: your story will be unlike anyone else's. So if you are trying to copy what somebody else is doing, if you are trying to make your story look like somebody else's, if you are trying to get to the goal of someone else, you are not going to make it. Your story, your journey is intended to be specifically tailored to you. Number three, and I've said this before in a couple of shows, we got to celebrate our progress. I told you guys, celebrate when you accomplish something. Look back at where you were and recognize where you are right now, and let everyone know about it, especially yourself, that you did the damn thing. Yes, indeed. You understand what I'm saying? Let everybody know that you accomplished something, that you did something, that you made it through, and go ahead and celebrate it. Go ahead and celebrate it, even when nobody else does. All right. Number four, we just talked about this. Stop measuring your life by other people's standards, by other people's goals. When you see people succeeding, help them celebrate. Go on, be their cheerleader. Use it as motivation to reach your goals. Draw inspiration, draw wisdom from them, draw knowledge from them, even draw support from them. All right, but if your cheerleading section is not cheering, if your cheerleading section is weak, then you better grab your own pom-poms and start making your own noise and celebrate yourself. Sometimes that's the only thing that's going to get you through. Sometimes you will be the only one cheering for you. So let's make that happen. Number five, build the next step, right? Not the perfect outcome. Don't focus on perfection. I need you to focus on performance. Again, I'm going to say that one more time. Do not focus on perfection. I need you to focus on your performance. Sometimes, and many times, it's not about getting it perfect. It's just about getting it done. All right. I remember back when I was a freshman in college, the first college I ever went to was the University of Rochester, in 1995 to 1996. I had a physics class. It was the hardest class I've ever taken. And the night before the exam, I stayed up all night studying and preparing and writing my little notes. We had one sheet of paper front and back that we could take in, and all I needed, I was just preparing to get a D to pass the class, right? That's all I needed. And that was by far the worst grade I've ever received. But also by far was the best grade I ever received that specific semester. I put in a whole ton of work to barely pass this class. And before you ask, you better believe I celebrated the hell out of that D. Yes, indeed. Remember this, people. You will complete many more goals than you will perfect. Again, you will complete many more goals than you will perfect. This is not to say that our effort is lacking. If you can walk away saying you gave your best, if you can walk away saying you gave 100, let me tell you that completion almost always comes before perfection. Completion. Let me tell you this. Completion almost always comes before perfection. Yes, indeed. Kings, let me go ahead and hit you with some reflection prompts. And before we get started, if you haven't already done so, you guys know what to do. Go ahead and snatch or grab your journals, because we're going to need to write these down. And I got four of each, four reflection prompts and four daily affirmations, right? I really couldn't choose, and I really think these are going to hit you hard today. So go ahead and grab your journals. And if by some small miracle you do not have a journal, what you can do is you can click in the link or look in the description of this show. Click on the link for the Master Your Mindset 7 Dimensions of Mindset official journal. Click on that link, and I guarantee you it will come to you quick, fast, and in a hurry, so you can join in with the rest of the kings and write down these reflection prompts and daily affirmations. Today, you are not going to want to miss these. All right, King, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Reflection prompt number 1. What wisdom have I gained through my struggles that will guide my next chapter? What wisdom have you gained? What knowledge have you acquired? What has transpired in your life that has given you information so that you can be better for whatever you are about to face? That is critical. What wisdom have I gained through my struggles that will guide my next chapter? Reflection prompt number 2. How can I start trusting the timing of my life instead of fighting it? How can we start trusting? Do we have trust issues? I guess that's a good question to start with. How can we start trusting and believing in the timing of our lives so that we stop fighting against it? Because sometimes that fight is blocking something. Sometimes that fight is taking away our energy so that we can't even see where we are and where we're meant to be. How can I start trusting the timing of my life instead of fighting it? How can we do that? Reflection prompt number 3. What parts of my growth required patience rather than speed? Where were you impatient? Or where were you patient? All right, where were you trying to go fast and trying to hurry up and trying to rush and trying to get there to impress somebody, to make yourself look good, to feel good about yourself? Where were you rushing through life? Where were you rushing through your growing process instead of being patient? What parts of my growth required patience rather than speed? And that is typically where you will find where you have grown, where you have learned, where you have developed resilience, where you have learned the most critical lessons in those times where your growth required you to be patient and be still and be silent and just endure what is going on and just deal with it. What parts of my growth required patience rather than speed? And finally, reflection prompt number 4. If life is a journey rather than a race, what would being on time truly mean? Yes, indeed. If you look at your life as a journey rather than a race, if you stop trying to beat the clock, if you stop trying to be on somebody else's time, if you stop trying to go as fast as you can, if you slow it down, if you stop trying to do what someone else is doing, if life is a journey rather than a race, what would being on time truly mean? It would mean that when you showed up, it was meant to be. It would mean that when you accomplished that goal, that was the perfect time. It would mean that when you bought your house, it was time. It would mean when you found that special person, that was perfect timing. It would mean when you had children, it was perfect timing. If life is a journey rather than a race, what would being on time truly mean? Yes, indeed. Kings, let's get into some daily affirmations. Affirmation number one: my pace in life does not diminish my purpose in life. And it's just a perfect segue, right? The speed at which you are going in life, whether it's fast or slow, and particularly as it relates to going slow, that slow pace does not diminish your purpose. Your fast pace does not diminish your purpose in life. My pace in life does not diminish my purpose in life. So take your time, learn all that you can, put your best foot forward, put all your energy into it, be diligent about what you are doing. Take your time, get it right, focus, lock in. My pace in life does not diminish my purpose in life. Affirmation number three: my journey is priceless regardless of how anyone else values it. This is the headspace that I need you to, to be in. I need you to understand. You need to understand the value of your journey. You need to understand the value of the direction. You need to understand the value of where you are going is priceless. And this is regardless of how anyone else feels about it. I don't care if it's your spouse. I don't care if it's your kids. I don't care if it's your mama, your daddy. I don't care if it's your brother. I don't care if it's your friends, your coworkers. You have to understand that your journey is priceless regardless of how anyone else feels about it. That's the space that you have to live in. Remember, sometimes you're going to need to be your own cheerleader. You are going to need to do that. So in order to be in a strong headspace, you need to feel priceless. You need to feel strong. You need to feel that your journey is special. And regardless of how anyone else looks at it, it doesn't diminish the value. My journey is priceless regardless of how anyone else values it or doesn't value it. Affirmation number four: my life's purpose is clear even when my life's path is not. And this is faith. This is belief. This is, moving forward when you have no visible evidence or proof or even reason to continue to move forward. It's just your life's purpose is that clear when the path that you are taking is not. And this is why we talk about everybody's journey is different. Some people are on a journey and they can clearly see where they are going. There's no roadblocks, there's no obstacles, there's nothing in the way. The road is clear. But for you and your purpose and what is meant for you, there may need to be some stumbling blocks. There may need to be something in your way. There may need to be something that you need to work through or work around or get over or deal with or remove or let go. There might be something like that. My life's purpose is clear. Why you are here is clear. What you are supposed to be doing is clear. How you're going to get there, though, the path that you need to take, the direction that you need to go, that is not always clear. Yes, indeed. Kings, my final thought for today is this. As I close, I want to leave you with a truth that can change the way you see your entire life. And I want to tell you, you are not late. Your healing is not late. Your growth is not late. Your discovering who you are, is not late. Not anywhere on your journey, right? Not finding out, not walking into your purpose. You're not late to any of those things. Now, the world may tell us we should already have accomplished some things. They might tell us that we might need to be further along, maybe in our career, maybe in relationships, maybe in personal accomplishments. As I said, life is not meant to be a race with a universal clock. Your journey has its own rhythm. Your journey has its own timing. Your journey has its own demands, and therefore your journey requires its own story. Right? The lessons you've learned, the challenges you've faced, the moments that slowed you down or forced you to start over, none of them were wasted. Each one was shaping you, it was strengthening you, and it was preparing you for what lies ahead on your journey. Sometimes the very seasons that feel like delays are actually the seasons that are building wisdom, they're building resilience, and they're building perspective. And all of these things you will need for the next part of your life's journey. So instead of asking yourself, why am I not there yet? Why am I not over there? Why am I not up there? Why am I not with this person? Ask yourself, what is this moment teaching me? Ask yourself, what is significant about the place where I stand right now? Because every step you've taken thus far, every step you've taken up to now has been just preparation. Right, again, I'm going to say it again. You are not behind. You are not off track. You are not out of time. You are right where you need to be. And the person you are turning into, the person that you are transforming into, is exactly who you need to be for this part of your journey. Remember, you are forming the feet and legs. You are forming the arms and body. And you are also forming the head. You are transforming into your Voltron. Voltron is needed right now. So move forward with patience, move forward with courage, and move forward with confidence. And most importantly, move forward with trust in the time of who you are meant to be. Because your story is still being written, and you are right on time. Yes, indeed. Kings, I want to thank you for joining me for this show of Master Your Mindset, the 7 dimensions of mindset. And before I get on up out of here, before you get on up out of here, you know what I need you to do. I need you to do one thing. I need you to check your vibe. Mind bright, vibe right. Yes, indeed. People, if this podcast has shifted your mindset or moved you to change your vibe, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with somebody that you love, somebody that you care about, or someone that you believe can vibe in a new way. Leave me a review, subscribe, and follow me on Instagram at KingYesIndeed. Also, if you are interested in vibe coaching consultation, please email me at kingyesindeed@gmail.com. Let's find more personally tailored approach to your vibe. Yeah, I give one-on-one coaching. I can do group coaching through mind or vibe or mindset coaching classes. Until next time, people, check your vibe. Mind bright, vibe right. Yes, indeed.